What's up, Toronto? Project Double F here again. And what a busy day we've had this weekend in the city. 6 shootings all across the city. It's a mess. Let's start with the first one. Man walks into the hospital with gunshot wounds. Police say he's not cooperating with any of the evidence and that it appears that it was a shootout that he managed to flee from. So apparently there was some sort of an accident and the occupants of both cars got out and started shooting at each other. As you can see in the picture here, the car is riddled with bullets. So the next incident happened in the Jane and Lawrence area, and many of you are familiar with that area. There's been several incidents around there lately, but this particular one happened in a local restaurant or bar or whatever. You know, one man was shot outside, and then while the police were tending to that man, they went inside to find another man who was, as you know how it goes, pronounced. Again, they have no information as usual, you know, except I believe that they saw a silver or gray colored SUV in the area. Apparently the second man that they found out front is in the hospital with life-threatening injuries, and I mean, hey, just another day in Toronto, I guess. But for those of us who remember the good old days of Toronto, this is extremely different. A different city, a different time. On to the next one. Random shooting in the Jane and Grand Ravine, I believe, area. You know, so, as you can see in the pictures, somebody just basically ran up on the house and sprayed it. Or, you know, were spraying in the area and some of them landed in the house. Now people, if you live in this house, or you live in this area, seriously, if you live in this area, how would you feel if this happened to your house? You wouldn't want to move. And the next one is a shooting on the east side, people. This one is in the Gerrard Street area. And judging from what the police are saying, one man was sent to hospital, and again, nobody is in custody. So, you know, all of this is crazy, and it's had a tragic, tremendous effect on the city. Let's see what the mayor has to say about it.
Take people that are now just brazenly carrying firearms in their pockets and in some cases using them and trying to deal with that. So we've just got to keep at it.
You hear that, Toronto? Just keep at it.
You know, take what are increasingly and very disturbingly very young people who are carrying and using these guns.
I mean, some of this man's statements is more laughable than anything. And honestly, we here at Project Double F, we don't find it entertaining at all. People are dying, you have no solutions. I guess your solution is just wait till everybody kills themselves, and then you run in and scrape up the dead bodies and talk about, oh, well, we're just gonna keep at it. Pathetic. Pathetic. Now, this next case is not the typical type of case that I will normally show here at Project Double F, but I kind of emphasize this case to show a few points. The first point is that this gentleman here who was arrested in a raid. What is abnormal about it is that he was found with $200,000 cash on him and drugs. What's weird is he's the only person involved in this case of whom you see their picture. And I'm going to post the police reports and the clippings from CP24 on this. Shoutouts to CP24, that's where I get some of my news. However, I don't agree with their viewpoints. I'm going to post the clippings from the newspaper, and you will see that other people were arrested. Some were denied bail, some were granted bail. But the thing that I found most curious, as you see here, is that we don't see their face. So it almost seems as though this face that we saw initially is the only person involved in this. However, he wasn't found with the most drugs or the most money. And as you can see, the amount of artillery that this particular project had uncovered, subatomic machine guns and this type of heavy weaponry, people, this was no joke of a case. Point being, why is it that our national media services here in Canada find it comfortable to only give out the identities of the people that they choose? I don't know. One for the question book. Now, as you can see, there was two other brothers involved in the case by the name of Mirage and another brother by the name of Karim, I believe. We only hear their names, we don't see their faces, but yet still their involvement, from the sounds of what was seized, was much larger than the picture of this man who they decided to post up on TV. So, Toronto people, this is Project Double F telling you be careful of what you read into with these news medias. And as you see more of my shows and you tune in, you'll have a better understanding of what I'm talking about. I don't know if you remember this next case. It's with a youth called Devontae Miller. If you don't remember him, he was the one that was beaten up by the off-duty officer and his brother. Here's a quick reminder of this aggravated assault case.
With several broken bones in his face and an injury to his eye that was so bad it had to be surgically removed. Toronto Police Constable Michael Theriault and his brother Christian have both pleaded not guilty to charges of aggravated assault.
His eye was basically leak out of the socket, and they've pled not guilty, and it was, to me, I believe it was a case of some racially motivated racial profiling. Couldn't even be profiling because he wasn't even on duty. Now, the facts of this case is what is astonishing to me, listening to this. The bullshit level goes really high on this case.
Criminal defense lawyer Ari Goldkind, you've been following this closely, as we have here at CP24 and CTV News. I want to ask you today, as Devontae Miller takes the stand once again, how will the defense try to poke holes in his testimony? Or what holes do you anticipate could be there already?
So from a defense lawyer point of view, what they're going to start doing today is putting to the judge their theory, their position, because we don't know yet whether the brothers are going to testify. So they're going to do the following. They're going to suggest that it may have been one punch that caused...
No, we have to take a quick pause there. Did he just say one punch?
The eye to burst. Remember, we're all concerned with the fact that this young man lost his eye, and there seems to be no good explanation for it. What the defense lawyers are going to want to show that this wasn't a repeated beating with a metal pipe, but it may have been one punch while one of the brothers was defending themselves. I'm not sure that argument is going to hold water at the end of the day. They're also going to try and show that Devontae Miller isn't being straight with what he was or was not doing that night. Two of his friends testified they were up to something else. Mr. Miller says we were just walking down the street and we got carted by the brothers. Given the extent of the injuries, it is a risk to put them up. This is the part of the story that isn't talked about enough. Their initial statements to the police that night, misleading the Durham police officers. The father of the brothers was consulted. Defense lawyers are going to try to attack Mr. Miller's credibility. Bottom line is, even if the defense lawyers do that, you still have a grievous, gruesome, and horrible injury caused when one of the brothers tells police that the brothers were fighting for their lives. That would be a tough pill, I think, for the judge to swallow.
And quite powerful yesterday in the courtroom. People clearly, we know he lost his eye, but just the image he showed, that eye, right, a prosthetic there, clear white from what we can see, or all white from what we can see. So you see the magnitude of this injury, this alleged...
So hold on, Tita. You hear all them foolishness there? One punch with a pipe? How you punch somebody with a metal pipe, huh? Somebody please explain that concept to me, if that isn't the highest level of foolishness.
Trial 1 want to know if these brothers are going to hit the box and give their version of events, how, with what we know about the injury, they aren't responsible for using more force than was reasonably necessary. That's essentially the test. If they go down the self-defense route, I would be surprised if we do not hear from these brothers. But right at the scene, the brothers weren't even separated. Now this matters. When the police showed up, the brothers weren't separated. They were able to give their own stories right next to each other.
They were able to match the stories.
That is exactly right. And just for people who don't follow the law closely, that is not something that was done. And these brothers, because one was a police officer, were extended courtesies that nobody else watching us right now would ever get if they were charged with it. So, bottom line, from a defense lawyer point of view, two skilled defense lawyers today are going to go after Mr. Miller a little bit, but the defense lawyers have a very tough road to hoe in the coming days.
Okay, criminal defense lawyer Ari Goldkind with analysis. We appreciate your time. You're going to join us again at 10 o'clock.
There you have it, T-Dot. That's a wrap-up on just yesterday. This is the kind of city that we live in. This is the kind of foolishness that we have to deal with. Don't know, this is Project Double F. Like, subscribe, share, leave a comment. At the end of the day, you know we don't give a